Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present.
Everyone, and I mean everyone, must address the question, should I date in high school? At least for me, I definitely grew up with the surrounding expectation that I would get into a relationship during my teenage years. And of course, we all know the high school sweetheart fantasy, which also plays into this desire to find someone. However, we must also ask ourselves, is this the right thing to do? Is dating in high school essential to growing up? Or are there more harmful effects attached to it? Spoiler, there is no right answer. With all debates, there are two sides, and today we will cover both the positives and negatives, as well as some advice on making your decision. I also want to make it clear that I did not date in high school, but again, that's just me, and I'll talk more about why I didn't later. But for now, let's dive in to what I believe are the cons of dating in high school. Without a doubt, there are definitely negatives that surround dating in high school. As I said earlier, I personally didn't date in high school, but from seeing other people in relationships, I have developed several observations that I want to share with you now. The first and most obvious one is that a relationship can be a distraction. While you could argue a positive side of that point, I believe that it is too easy to over-dedicate time and energy to a relationship, and in the process fall behind in other areas of life. One of the biggest cons is that it can cause many different forms of trauma, whether that be emotional or physical abuse, or the pain of heartbreak. These are really destructive experiences that can cause serious harm when you were still quite young. And of course, a lot of us don't share our feelings at this time. So going through this stuff while also bottling everything in is a recipe for disaster. The next negative is one that I've discussed before, but I need to bring it up again for this video. In many cases, people are prone to becoming too dependent on their partner and lose the ability to thrive on their own. They develop the unhealthy belief that their partner is their main and only source of happiness, and without them, they are completely lost. Look, it's not a bad thing to get joy from your partner, but there is a line that can be crossed, and when we are younger, I don't think we see that line as clearly. Another consequence of this specific point is losing your independence to the point where you live for the other person. You lose sight of what makes you unique and basically dedicate your whole life to being that other person's partner. I think this concept of dependency is the biggest problem with dating in high school. Most of us are too young to understand healthy boundaries and what it means to be developing yourself while also managing a relationship. Finally, I think another problem with looking for someone so early is that at this stage of our lives, we really don't know ourselves that much. And if that's true, then how are we supposed to find someone who we are going to spend the rest of our lives with? We don't have a huge grasp on our future, how we want to live our lives, and I think trying to figure this out while dealing with a relationship can be quite problematic. And of course, if you do find yourself in a relationship as a teenager, you have to manage that and everything else that comes with growing up. It's a lot, and from the way I've talked about it so far, you might think I believe no one should date young. But that is completely untrue, as I believe that while there are many risks that come with dating in high school, there might be just as many rewards. First off, I need to make this disclaimer. All of the pros related to dating, with one exception that I will address later, are completely dependent on the type of person who you are with. And when I say that, I don't mean that they are bad for you if you don't get married. But my point is, you need to be with the right person in order to get something positive out of a relationship. I know that's very obvious, but I just wanted to make that clear. Now onto what I consider to be the positives of dating in high school. First off, it must be said that real love is a special thing, no matter what age it happens for you. It's something that we must appreciate and never take for granted. And a lot of times, love comes at unexpected moments. So if you do find yourself in a situation where you are truly in love with someone, congratulations. But you know that Even in cases with real love, sometimes the relationship isn't meant to be. And that's completely okay. You'll learn firsthand the harsh but true reality that life moves on after heartbreak. And in my opinion, that is something where you must experience it to truly understand it. No matter the outcome, a relationship will be a great and necessary learning experience in your life. You will, without a doubt, grow from your time in one, and be able to carry those lessons when you find yourself with someone new. During your relationship, you'll develop social and emotional skills that can be utilized when interacting with literally anyone in the world. The next point I want to bring up is actually a counter to something I said in the cons section. I talked about how it can be difficult to navigate growing up and having a healthy relationship at the same time. But there is also a positive aspect to that. In a time where we usually feel like we are completely on our own, we would have someone to go to, someone who we could be vulnerable and completely transparent with. My final point is the exception to my opening statement. In certain cases, you might find yourself with a completely toxic person. Hopefully, you're able to end that relationship and move on, but don't forget to leave with some lessons. Think about the red flags, the warning signs that you could have seen and responded to earlier. Remember this for the future. They will help you out greatly in your adult life. So we've looked at both the pros and cons of dating in high school, but you still might be on the fence about what path you want to take. The final section of this video will hopefully help you in coming to a conclusion. Always remember, this is your decision to make. Don't let anybody influence your choice with pressure or shame or whatever. Of course though, there is nothing wrong with changing your mind. Just make sure it came from you. With that said, I want to briefly talk about why I didn't date in high school. It was primarily because I was not socially or emotionally mature enough. If I had gotten into a relationship, I don't think I would have been able to be a good partner or learn positively from the relationship. But again, that is just me. You might be completely ready, or you might not be for reasons different from my own. This is something you need to reflect on, and right now, I want to help you with that. If you decide that you want to seek out a relationship, my advice is simple: do not rush. There is no point in getting into a relationship for the simple fact of doing so. Be patient with your search. And honestly, you might fail to find one in high school, even if you want to, and that's okay. As for advice on actually picking someone out, that could be a whole video on its own, but I have one important point to make. Find someone who you can enjoy the little things with. Now, I want to talk to the people who are having doubts or have decided that they don't want to date. No matter your decision, know this: you will not fall behind everyone else if you don't date. I struggled a lot with understanding this, but you will still have opportunities to develop your relationship skills later on in life. High school just isn't your time to do it. Whatever your decision, know this: whether you are in 5 relationships in high school or none, do not compare your story to anyone else. Your life is unique, and whatever experiences you have were meant to happen. So all you need to do is accept and learn from them, and you will be fine. I want to offer some closing words about dating culture in high school. First off, if you have a friend that gets into a relationship but it doesn't work out in the end, don't judge or shame them. Instead, help them grow from it and ask them to share their wisdom with you. Also, if you are looking for a partner, find someone you can actually connect with. Don't just date them because of their looks or status. Find what's behind all that and you'll be much happier. And of course, learn from whatever happens, whether you get into a relationship or not. I think that's going to do it for now on this topic. I hope you found this video worth your time, and as always, this has been Dark Horse, and I will see you in the next video.